The Colt M1911, a semi-automatic .45 caliber pistol, served as the standard issue U.S. Army sidearm for nearly 90 years, starting at the end of the 19th century through the 1980s. It first saw service in the Philippines, immediately following the Spanish-American War. The Army needed a gun with knockdown power, and it picked the .45. In World War I, Sergeant Alvin York won a Medal of Honor for killing 28 German soldiers and capturing 132, primarily with his M1911. The Army continued to use it in World War II, Korea and Vietnam. The M1911 is a single-action, semi-automatic, magazine-fed, recoil-operated pistol chambered for the .45 ACP cartridge. It served as the standard issue sidearm for the United States Armed Forces from 1911 to 1986. It was first used in later stages of the Philippine-American War, and was widely used in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. The pistol's formal designation as of 1940 was automatic pistol, caliber .45, M1911 for the original model of 1911, or automatic pistol, caliber .45, M1911a1 for the M1911a1, adopted in 1924. The designation changed to pistol, caliber .45, automatic, M1911a1 in the Vietnam era. In total, the U.S. procured around 2.7 million M1911 and M1911a1 pistols in military contracts during its service life. The M1911 was replaced by the 9mm Beretta M9 pistol as the standard U.S. sidearm in October 1986, but due to its popularity among users, it has not been completely phased out. Modernized derivative variants of the M1911 are still in use by some units of the U.S. Army Special Forces, the U.S. Navy and U.S. Marine Corps. Designed by John Browning, the M1911 is the best known of his designs to use the short recoil principle in its basic design. The pistol was widely copied, and this operating system rose to become the preeminent type of the 20th century and of nearly all modern centerfire pistols. It is popular with civilian shooters in competitive events such as USPSA, IDPA, International Practical Shooting Confederation, and bullseye shooting. Compact variants are popular civilian concealed carry weapons, because of the design's relatively slim width and the power of the .45 ACP cartridge. The M1911 pistol originated in the late 1890s as the result of a search for a suitable self-loading, or semi-automatic, pistol to replace the variety of revolvers then in service. 6. The United States was adopting new firearms at a phenomenal rate, several new pistols and 2 all-new service rifles. The M1892/96/98 Kragen M1895 Navy Lee, as well as a series of revolvers by Colt and Smith & Wesson for the Army and Navy, were adopted just in that decade. The next decade would see a similar pace, including the adoption of several more revolvers and an intensive search for a self-loading pistol that would culminate in official adoption of the M1911 after the turn of the decade. Hiram S. Maxim had designed a self-loading rifle in the 1880s, but was preoccupied with machine guns. Nevertheless, the application of his principle of using bullet energy to reload led to several self-loading pistols in 1896. The designs caught the attention of various militaries, each of which began programs to find a suitable one for their forces. In the U.S., such a program would lead to a formal test at the turn of the 20th century. Following its success in trials, the Colt pistol was formally adopted by the Army on March 29, 1911, when it was designated Model of 1911, later changed to Model 1911, in 1917. And then M1911, in the mid-1920s. The director of civilian marksmanship began manufacture of M1911 pistols for members of the National Rifle Association in August 1912. Approximately 100 pistols stamped 10RA below the serial number were manufactured at Springfield Armory and by Colt. The M1911 was formally adopted by the Navy and Marine Corps in 1913. By the beginning of 1917, a total of 68,533 M1911 pistols had been delivered to U.S. Armed Forces by Colt Firearms Company and the U.S. government's Springfield Armory. However, the need to greatly expand U.S. military forces and the resultant surge in demand for the firearm in World War I saw the expansion of manufacture to other contractors besides Colt and Springfield Armory, including Remington UMC, North American Arms Company of Quebec. Battlefield experience in the First World War led to some more small external changes, completed in 1924. The new version received a modified type classification, M1911a1, in 1926 with a stipulation that M1911a1s should have serial numbers higher than 700,000 with lower serial numbers designated M1911. 14. The M1911a1 changes to the original design consisted of a shorter trigger, cutouts in the frame behind the trigger, an arched mainspring housing, a longer grip safety spur to prevent hammer bite, a wider front sight, a shortened hammer spur, and simplified grip checkering, eliminating the double diamond reliefs. These changes were subtle, and largely intended to make the pistol easier to shoot for those with smaller hands. Many persons unfamiliar with the design are often unable to tell the difference between the two versions at a glance. No significant internal changes were made, and parts remained interchangeable between the M1911 and the M1911a1. World War II and the years leading up to it created a great demand. During the war, about 1.9 million units were procured by the U.S. government for all forces, production being undertaken by several manufacturers, including Remington Rand, 900,000 produced, Colt, 400,000, Ithaca Gun Company, 400,000, Union Switch and Signal, 50,000, and Singer, 500. New M1911a1 pistols were given a parkerized metal finish instead of bluing, and the wood grip panels were replaced with panels made of brown plastic. The M1911a1 was a favored small arm of both U.S. and Allied military personnel during the war. In particular, the pistol was prized by some British commando units and the SO as well as Commonwealth South African forces. From 1943 to 1945 a fine-grade russet leather M1916 pistol belt set was issued to some generals in the U.S. Army. It was composed of a leather belt, leather enclosed flap holster with braided leather tie-down leg strap, leather two-pocket magazine pouch, and a rope neck lanyard. The metal buckle and fittings were in gilded brass. The buckle had the seal of the United States on the center, or male, piece and a laurel wreath on the circular, or female, piece. The pistol was a standard-issue M1911a1 that came with a cleaning kit and 3 magazines. After World War II, the M1911 continued to be a mainstay of the United States Armed Forces in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. It was used during Desert Storm in specialized U.S. Army units and U.S. Navy Mobile Construction Battalions, Seabees, and has seen service in both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, with U.S. Army Special Forces groups and Marine Corps Force reconnaissance companies. Many military and law enforcement organizations in the United States and other countries continue to use, often modified, M1911a1 pistols including Marine Corps Special Operations Command, Los Angeles Police Department SWAT and SIS, the FBI Hostage Rescue Team, FBI Regional SWAT Teams, and 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment, Delta Force. a basic version of Smith & Wesson's SW1911 with user-installed patch-made grips. M1911 by Springfield Armory Incorporated, contemporary remake of the World War II GI model, Parkerized. The M1911a1 is popular among the general public in the United States for practical and recreational purposes. The pistol is commonly used for concealed carry thanks in part to a single-stack magazine, which makes for a thinner pistol that is therefore easier to conceal, personal defense, target shooting, and competition. Numerous aftermarket accessories allow users to customize the pistol to their liking. There are a growing number of manufacturers of M1911 type pistols, and the model continues to be quite popular for its reliability, simplicity, and patriotic appeal. Various tactical, target, and compact models are available. Price ranges from a low end of around $400 for basic pistols imported from the Philippines or Turkey, Armska, Tisas, Rock Island Armory, Gerson, SDI Spartan, Seraphim Armory, to more than $4,000 for the best competition or tactical versions, Wilson Combat, Ed Brown, Labaya, Nighthawk Custom, and SDI International. Marine Expeditionary Units formerly issued M1911s to Force Recon units. 24. Hand-selected Colt M1911a1 frames were gutted, deburred, and prepared for additional use by the USMC Precision Weapons Section, PWS, at Marine Corps Base Quantico. They were then assembled with aftermarket grip safeties, ambidextrous thumb safeties, triggers, improved high visibility sights, accurized barrels, grips, and improved Wilson magazines. These handmade pistols were tuned to specifications and preferences of end users. International users. Colt 1911 British Service Model, Cal .455 Webley Auto. Bangladesh still uses Usgi M1911s supplied as military aid during the Vietnam War era, while Rapid Action Battalion, RAB forces, an anti-terrorist police tactical team in Bangladesh uses this weapon. The Brazilian company Imbal, Indústria de Material Bloco do Brasil, still produces the pistol in several variants for military and law enforcement uses in .45 ACP, .40 S&W and 9mm calibers. The two former are also available to Army-registered collectors and shooters. For the civilian market, the pistols are chambered in .380 ACP since there are strong caliber restrictions in place. The Canadian company Seraphim Armory brands Filipino-manufactured pistols in several models for domestic and export use. Pistols are available in .45 ACP and 9mm calibers for civilian, military and law enforcement use. A Chinese arms manufacturer, Norinco, exports a clone of the M1911a1 for civilian purchase as the M1911a1 and the high-capacity MP30, as well 9mm variants the MP28 and MP29. Norinco also manufactured conversion kits to chamber the 7.62 x 25mm Tokarev round after the Korean War. As of 2013, the pistol is made under license citation needed, instead of copying with Colt manufacturing machinery, due to an agreement between Norinco and Colt in order to stop Norinco from producing the Norinco CQ rifle. Importation into the United States was blocked by trade rules in 1993, but Norinco still managed to import the weapon into Canada and successfully adopted by IPSC shooters, gunsmiths and firearms enthusiasts because of the cheaper price of the pistol than the other M1911s. The German Volksschirm used captured M1911s at the end of World War II under the weapon code P.660A, in which the alphabet means America, the weapon's origin country. The Greek Hellenic Army issues the World War II production American M1911 as sidearm. These pistols are supplied as military aid in 1946 and afterward as the U.S. aided Greece against communist expansion. Norway used the Kongsberg Colt, which was a license-produced variant and is recognized by the unique slide catch. Many Spanish firearms manufacturers produced pistols derived from the 1911, such as the Star Model B, the Astra 1911 PL, and the Llama Model 9, just to name a few. 33. Argentina produced a licensed copy, the Model 1927 Systema Colt, which eventually led to production of the cheaper Ballesta Molina, which resembles the 1911, but is not actually based on it. The Armed Forces of the Philippines issues mil-spec M1911a1 pistols as a sidearm to the Special Forces, military police and officers. These pistols are mostly produced by Colt, though some of them are produced locally by Armsca, a Philippine company specialized in making 1911 style pistols. The Indonesian Army issued a locally produced version of the Springfield M1911, chambered in .45 ACP along with the Pindad P1, the locally manufactured Browning high-power pistol as the standard issue sidearm. In the 1950s, the Republic of China Army, Taiwan, used original M1911a1s, and the batches are now still used by some forces. In 1962, Taiwan copied the M1911a1 as the T-51 pistol, and it saw limited use in the Army. After that, the T-51 was improved and introduced for export as the T-51K1. Now the pistols in service are replaced by locally made Beretta 92 pistols, the T-75 pistol. The Royal Thai Army and Royal Thai Police uses the Type 86, the Thai copy of the M1911 chambered in the .45 ACP round. The Turkish Land Forces uses MC-1911 Gerson-made copy of M1911. Numbers of Colt M1911s were used by the Royal Navy as sidearms during World War I in .455 Webley automatic caliber. 10. The pistols were then transferred to the Royal Air Force, where they saw use in limited numbers up until the end of World War II as sidearms for aircrew in event of bailing out in enemy territory. 10. Some units of the South Korean Air Force still use these original batches as officers' sidearms. Civilian models. A Colt M1911a1 compact ORM pistol. A Colt M1911a1 compact ORM pistol with slide-locked back to expose bull barrel. Colt Government Mk. 4 Series 70, 1970–1983, introduced the accurized split-barrel bushing. The first 1,000 prototypes in the serial number range 35800NM, 37025NM were marked BB on the barrel and the slide. Commander-sized pistols retain the solid bushing. Colt Government Mk. 4 Series 80, 1983 present, introduced an internal firing pin safety and a new half-cock notch on the sear. Pulling the trigger on these models while at half-cock will cause the hammer to drop. Models after 1988 returned to the solid barrel bushing due to concerns about breakages. Colt 1991 Series, 1991–2001 ORM, 2001 present NRM, a hybrid of the M1911a1 military model redesigned to use the slide of the Mk. 4 Model 80. These models aimed at providing a more mil-spec pistol to be sold at a lower price point than Colt's other 1911 models in order to compete with imported pistols from manufacturers such as Springfield Armory and Norinco. The 1991–2001 model used a large M1991a1 roll mark engraved on the slide. The 2001 model introduced a new Colt's government model roll mark engraving. The 1991 series incorporates full-sized blued and stainless models in either .45 ACP or .38 Super, as well as blued and stainless Commander models in .45 ACP. Custom models. A Colt Series 80 Gold Cup National Much Edition with nickel plating. 10-ring custom Colt. Since its inception, the M1911 has lent itself to easy customization. Replacement sights, grips, and other aftermarket accessories are the most commonly offered parts. Since the 1950s and the rise of competitive pistol shooting, many companies have been offering the M1911 as a base model for major customization. These modifications can range from changing the external finish, checkering the frame, and hand-fitting custom hammers, triggers, and sears. Some modifications include installing compensators and the addition of accessories such as tactical lights and even scopes. A common modification of John Browning's design is to use a full-length guide rod that runs the full length of the recoil spring. This adds weight to the front of the pistol, but does not increase accuracy, and does make the pistol slightly more difficult to disassemble. Custom guns can cost over $5,000 and are built from the ground up or on existing base models. The main companies offering custom M1911s are Springfield Custom Shop, Ed Brown, SDI International, Nighthawk Custom, Wilson Combat, and Labia. Citation needed. ISPC models are offered by both Stravoigt Incorporated, Infinity Firearms, and SDI International. Browning's basic M1911 design has seen very little change throughout its production life. The basic principle of the pistol is recoil operation. As the expanding combustion gases force the bullet down the barrel, they give reverse momentum to the slide and barrel, which are locked together during this portion of the firing cycle. After the bullet has left the barrel, the slide and barrel continue rearward a short distance. At this point, a link pivots the rear of the barrel down, out of locking recesses in the slide, and the barrel is stopped by making contact with the lower barrel lugs against the frame's vertical impact surface. As the slide continues rearward, a claw extractor pulls the spent casing from the firing chamber and an ejector strikes the rear of the case, pivoting it out and away from the pistol. The slide stops and is then propelled forward by a spring to strip a fresh cartridge from the magazine and feed it into the firing chamber. At the forward end of its travel, the slide locks into the barrel and is ready to fire again. There are no fasteners of any type in the 1911 design, excepting the grip screws. The main components of the 1911 are held in place by the force of the recoil spring. The pistol can be field stripped by partially retracting the slide, removing the slide stop, and subsequently removing the barrel bushing. Full disassembly, and subsequent reassembly, of the pistol to its component parts can be accomplished using several manually removed components as tools to complete the disassembly. This gun is used in the following countries: Argentina, Bangladesh, Rapid Action Battalion, Brazil. The Brazilian Army uses a version of the M1911 developed by Amble chambered in 9x19mm per obim and designated M973. Bolivia. Canada. In both World Wars, Canadian officers had the option of privately purchasing their own sidearm, and the M1911 and M1911a1 was a popular choice. The Joint Canadian-U.S. 1st Special Service Force, aka the Devil's Brigade, also used American infantry weapons, including the M1911a1. People's Republic of China, Norinco exports a clone of the M1911a1 for civilian purchase. The Chinese Arms Company also manufactured conversion kits to chamber the 7.62x25mm Duckaf round after the Korean War. Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Fiji, Greece, Guatemala, Haiti, Indonesia, Iran, Japan. After World War II, Japan's self-defense forces and police were provided the M1911a1 from U.S. They were used until 1980s. Liberia, Lithuania, Lithuanian Armed Forces. Luxembourg, in service with 1st Artillery Battalion 1963 to 1967. Malaysia, in service with 10 paratrooper and Grup Jarak Kaz Special Forces of the Malaysian Army. Mexico. Nazi Germany, used captured STLs during World War II. Nicaragua. Norway. Philippines. Poland, Polish armed forces in the West used pistols during World War II. Spain. South Korea, made under license by S&T Daewoo and used by Republic of Korea Air Force as officers' sidearms. South Vietnam. Soviet Union, thousands of pistols were received as military assistance during World War II. Republic of China, Taiwan. Thailand. Turkey. United Kingdom. United States, former standard issue service pistol of the United States Armed Forces. The pistol remains in service with various law enforcement agencies across the U.S., such as the FBI, along with some U.S. Special Operations soldiers. The U.S. Marine Corps ordered 12,000 M1911 pistols for its Special Operations capable forces in July 2012. Zimbabwe. Similar pistols. AMT Hardballer. Ballesta Molina. A Brigand pistol. Vis pistol. Konsberg Colt.